Hello, and welcome to another wonderful episode of Submitted for Your Approval, the weekly card review show for Collective, the community-created card game where you make the cards. I am your host, A Stranger Side, and I am joined today by my faithful co-host, Grief, and his stylish sunglasses.
Howdy, folks, and it's more of a medical solution.
I don't know, I think you look cool. We are also joined, so Empty was out today. I don't know, I think he's spending some time with some friends or something. But we have a fill-in the form of Bonk. Hi, Bonk.
I aggressively salute you all.
Okie dokie then. So we're going to jump straight into it with the accepted submissions, and these are called accepted submissions because they've already been accepted, if you will, into the collection. Starting with the Dunewalker Soulwarder is a 4-drop mind 1/4 Feywin Arcanist from Mirage with unblockable, and when this deals 1 combat damage, repeat it for each other 1 attack ally. So sort of a spiritual successor to the old Blade Weaver, but more of a cooperative, swarmy gimmick to it. Of course, this sort of an upset last week, which I don't know why. I mean, y'all voted for it. We also were able to get in my design and my best gal, Anasi, and people are wondering kind of if Dunewalkers are going to be able to make a good comeback. VM Nunes says the deck is still struggling a little bit. Obviously, I mostly play single player, so I wouldn't know. Grief, what do you think of this?
Very cool collection of new cards, and yeah, Anansi is kind of a little bit overboard, but whatever. I mean, Doomwalkers are meant to go into a little bit of a new direction due to some planned support for the future. So I already love the grounds that have been, the foundations that have been laid for the deck to actually get off the ground again. Because what would be collective without a metagame that includes Doomwalkers?
They definitely are one of the most lasting, very specific named archetypes.
It's like in the game with goblins.
Mm-hmm. Bonk, what do you think of this?
Of the 3 Dunewalkers that got in this week, is probably the finest of them all.
Yeah. I do particularly like its interaction with Anasi because it's you have scaling exponential damage, and it's really potentially it's exciting. So yeah. Let's move right along to Eureka is a 2-drop mind action from Xandar with Scour 2 and draw a card. If you have 3+ cards named Eureka in your graveyard, set the drawn cards cost to 1. I am a little confused as to this design. This was one of the things that got in during the DC. Because the tricky thing about this is you're gonna have to find a way to create an extra copy of it, right?
Yes.
And do we have ample means to do that presently?
I can count them with 1 hand.
Okay. So Grief, what do you think of this?
Very cute build around moving forward. So whenever we actually get more action, copy support or doubling the graveyard, whatever, this will be something to look out for. Also very fond of seeing more Xander support or Xander realm representation. So yes, that's a plus in my book. But overall, this is not a bad card. Scour 2, draw a card, and that's fine on the baseline. When you actually find a deck that's a build around, this is just more value for your deck.
Yeah. So definitely cool design. I'd be really excited to see what people do with it. And I do like board bookkeeper, so having some more designs up that alley would be really, really fun for me. In particular for stuff like this, but also, and just in general, non-native copy shenanigans, stuff like that. Unsated Processionary is a 3-drop neutral 1/4 insect shapeshifter from Tutela with flying, deadly, and cards that cost less than their base cost can't be played. So functionally, what this does is when you play this card, the entire game crashes, right? So I think that's an interesting feature.
I fixed that already.
No, seriously, guys, yeah. Wait till the bug fix gets in if that hasn't. This thing just crashes the game. People were, and I think kind of unjustly, up in arms about this because the interaction with some of the innate like hero ability cost reduction things, notably like KM Empress, just being shut down where you can't play the game. I think that was a little reactionary. In standard play, this is just gonna be a little sort of flying deadly hate bear. It's very, very not hate bear, but sort of like a stacks type tool. Plays really well with some of the Verstalt stuff that's been going on. So if we card shot rookie, I don't know if that got in or not, but that could be a cool thing. Yeah, just really, really cute design. Bonk, you want to tell me a little bit about it?
So, out the complaints that you mentioned, the ones about KM are the only ones that I honestly believe that are actually fair complaints.
Mm-hmm.
But I will let first Griff speak.
Griff, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I think it's a kind of an overreaction, and sure, it hard shuts down KM when she's at her, when she's actually hitting her ultimate. But outside of that, I mean, we have direct hate to Pearlmore with everything that actually increases costs of the fucking doubloons. So yeah, for that case, or for the case of KM playing mind heavy decks that rely on the cost reduction, this is just a good answer against it. But in general, this just shuts down so many degenerate strategies that we have to that we dealt with in the last few years. So people being basically up in arms about it, it's more like, oh yeah, don't infringe on my fun, probably, and oh yeah, I just play KM, smiley face. This is a card effect that we needed for a long as while. It's cute even that it actually has the stat line to be fit into a Dunewalker strat, which now is getting better due to the new support. And being a neutral card, I think this will find a home regardless of what you want to play this in. Additionally, it's an insect, so that may actually be something funny.
Yeah, it's an insect, and it can be, you can throw it into Dunewalker. So
more so, a Precessionary. Huh? Did you ever hear about Precessionaries before this card?
I had not. I still don't know what they are. I see. Okay, so these are the active submissions. These are not in the game, so don't try to add these cards into your deck. What you do with these cards is you vote on them on the Reddit. This is Chaos Tear, is a 7-drop mind portal from nowhere in particular, with immediately play 5 random cards. So this is a new designer, Troy, and I always want to highlight the work of new people. This is interesting and reminds me of some stuff I tried to do, like when I was like an early designer. First of all, realm-wise, this could go in Black Rift if you were interested, but balance. But I think what the issue is with this card, well, there's a lot of issues with this card. Grave, you want to get started?
Nah.
Chaos Tear. Cool card. I hate it, but jokes aside. This card has no business being an actual thing at any kind of at any cost range, because even at 7 this just feels so way overcosted. But at 5 it kind of feels undercosted, and so on and so forth, because you don't know what the hell you're getting out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, this could mean that you're just swarming your board with bullshit cards that you may even in Legacy get out something like Pendant if you're really high rolling and stuff like that. On the other hand, this could actually play 5 copies of Boulder.
Yeah.
That's an extreme case that will never really happen. Probably isn't 0, so it can happen to the poor fellow that actually does so. But yeah, this is a card design that kind of is so volatile that it shouldn't really exist. Because the outcome is like all over the place. So this is something that I could see in Hearthstone, but not really in Collective, especially with the janky shit that's running around in terms of blocks and stuff.
So there are ways to fix this but fixing cost alone would not be enough, right?
No,
throw Black Curse on there because
So here is what you do. You raise it to a much higher cost, like 12, 13, or maybe even 14 if you are feeling like it. And to increase the number of cards randomly played.
No.
I think the easier fix for it, Bonk, is just putting a band around it, right? So force play, maybe even tune down the numbers a little bit, like force play 3 random 5 drops or 3 random cards with cost between 3 and 5, right?
That could also work.
Even if you just put a little bit of a band around it where the randomness is a little more controlled, that still creates that random feeling without it being like, oh, look, I got Kadar and a Pancat and a Plasma Splish and, oh, hey, look, Captain Dan. Like, it's just...
Or it plays cards until it reaches a total cost.
But yeah, there's something to be said about how simple the solution of just putting a band around it is. Like just making it so it only hits stuff in a certain range. Maybe tone down the number of cards, but I don't know. But I do think this design is cool, and it's interesting to see somebody more interested in these kind of designs, because I know there is a small contingent among the player base that is interested in maybe some more random designs, and it's good to see a newbie designing for them. So yeah, good, nice attempt, Troy. The Immortalis Curse is a 3-drop strength action from nowhere in particular. With until end of next turn, you can't lose from having no HP, then you lose all your HP, banish this. So this is cute. It reminds me of there's some designs in Magic that are have this kind of stuff. I think there is a Magic card that's very similar to this. Maybe.
Glorious End, stuff like that.
Glorious, yeah. Doesn't quite give you an extra turn because that doesn't really work in Collective, but it does let you survive for another turn. I think this is actually really fun. I don't like the art. I feel like there's probably plenty of things on the art sheet that would have been way better for this. In fact, I looked. There was like a nice zombie art from Spikebird that could have worked. There was probably a whole bunch of stuff. And I feel like even just with just new art, that would have gone a long way. But effect-wise, is this really as much of a problem as I'm imagining, where we had to put it down to 0? Bonk, what do you think of this?
I hate this with a passion.
Why?
It gives me Pride PTSD, even if it is not at all like Pride.
So this is, I mean, yes, it does give you like a guaranteed 2 turns of safety, but you're already spending 3 mana on one of those turns, and you will lose if you don't beat them before then, or draw another Immortalis Curse.
Yeah, that's also what I hate. That you can chain copies of each other into each other, and you will be mortal.
But you can't, how are you doing that? Because you're banishing it. So, how are you recurring it, right? It's got protections against that.
I mean, I don't know about you, but at least for me, 4 turns worth of not tying just allows for a lot of setup. It's a lot of setup and enough time to kill someone, even if you have nothing.
Oh yeah, I guess you can heal yourself up a little bit, maybe.
No, you cannot.
No.
I'm
losing it.
thinking of chaining this order.
Well, this card in particular doesn't keep you from healing, unlike Pride.
Yes, it does. You lose all your health.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's in the
you
tank.
lose, you go to 0, and you can't lose from being at 0 for till the end of next turn, right? Pride has a specific clause that says when you gain HP, lose it.
Wait,
Exactly.
hold on. Actually, when do you lose all your health?
It's
When you play that card,
resolution.
when you play Immortalis Curse.
It's on resolution.
It's on resolution. Yeah, it's worded weird.
Oh, actually, so it lost the health at the end. At the
Yeah.
end of the other exile.
Yeah, it does need sort of a wording fix, because I can see where you're getting that read now that I read it again. Grief, what do you think of this?
Interesting design. It's kind of worse Pride.
It's
No,
a different flavor of
not really technically worse Pride. It doesn't give your opponent a win condition. And Pride is way weaker nowadays than it was way back when we had less ways to answer it. Overall, it's a cool design, kind of a glorious end design, and people will try to build around that. Overall, it's okay. It's decent for 3 mana. You're basically trying to have fog your opponent for 2 turns, because it's for this turn and the end of next turn, meaning you have a 2-turn buffer where you cannot die to life loss. If you play the card next turn again, you get a 3-turn buffer, and there are janky ways in Legacy that you can actually chain this ad infinitum, so you don't really lose any of the copies. The thing is, like, this is a 3 mana tax each turn to basically say, okay, cool, if your only means of killing me is damage, then you kind of are shit out of luck, which is why this card is probably so negatively received. Outside of that, I mean, mill is kind of a thing. If there's ever an insta-win condition again in Standard, and that's a thing as well, because those conditions usually destroy the opponent, which gets around the life loss, similar to deck out. So that's basically just a card that ensures you that you probably can combo out for the next turn.
Yeah.
And kill the opponent unmolested. It's probably also very good for extreme hard control decks, like for permo setups.
Yeah, so my personal opinion, I think this was at 0. 0 is way too harsh for this. It couldn't be saved. It does need rewording, and find a good piece on the art sheet. There's so much good stuff on the art sheet. Okay. The number Muncher is a 3-drop spirit 1/3 rodent clerk from Animastra. With mob, draw a card that costs 2 or less. If you did, discard a card. Sub looked a little slow this week, so I decided to pick my own cards, because I don't understand why you're picking on my favorite dude. This little accountant is my favorite dude, and you guys don't like him, and that hurts my feelings.
Not a rat.
Grief, what do you think of this card?
I kind of like it. Why is Mob just better partner?
Mob was before Partner. Partner
Yeah,
came
I mean,
along
yeah,
and became a worse mob.
Yeah, okay. But I kind of generally prefer partner because it actually means you have to play a specific tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there is a reason why partner is much more popular than mob.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Because this is just generic. It is just generic spirit kid stuff. You put this down, and you have a damn strong aggro draw engine. Like, holy shit. There's so much filtering going on. You can basically put that into any kind of Spectre shell, and it will also ensure you that you get your damn discard engines online, discard payoffs online. And the problem is this card is not once per turn.
Yeah.
As stupid as this argument may sound, but if you actually manage to just put in tokens or stuff like that get into the game, to get into the board, die off, whatever, this just draws you through your deck. Why the hell is that the case?
Okay. So people are maybe worried about the power level, and its purpose is just a good stuff card. Bonk, what do you think of this?
I don't really have much to say, other than probably make it partner. But I know that goes against your design, so...
Yeah.
The thing about making a partner is right now there's only one other rodent in the game. Or no, there's two. So there's
Clerk.
It has 2 tribes.
You can proc it with Hit Mouse, and you can proc it a whole bunch with Come to Collect.
You are forgetting that it's a Clerk.
Well, are you gonna go run Spirit Clerk Tribal, Bonk? You want to send me your Spirit Clerk Tribal deck list?
I've seen worse.
I would love to see your Spirit Clerk Tribal deck list, Bonk. We should swap lists sometime.
Well, there are a lot more Clerks at Rotten, so...
Yeah. Well, but that's the point, is there's not enough... That was why Mob was not partner. Is because, well, first of all, because I wanted to do tokens, and tokens are created in play, which doesn't work with partner. But like, the other thing was, I was trying to make a new tribe, and that means that caring about that tribe is usually kind of screws it up. Anyways, the Thorny Dry Scale is a 1-drop spirit 1/2 plant Lizabo from nowhere in particular. With summon, mark a card in the enemy's hand, and when your opponent plays a marked card, gain +1 EXP. I actually thought this was fun. I'm excited to see. I like how we're seeing some use with Surmise, and we've seen some stuff with Spirit Marks. This could be a nice little sub-archetype, and I think this is a nice little way to do it. I really, really like that Fetus art, and I think this is a pretty decent use for it, and it also gives you a new Lizabo 1-drop, and, you know, plants. That was a thing at one point in time. Bonk, what do you think of this?
Honestly, I don't really have much to say about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Grief, what do you think of it?
From all the designs that Goken put out this week, this is the only one that I actually care about.
That I do
The
agree.
others, the others are either boring, bad,
Or illegal.
or illegal.
Mm-hmm.
It is the actually only interesting design, and I like it. To the point where I have to say this is probably the best support card that Mark decks would actually wish for, and I'm very surprised by this card is actually at 1 in the in voting, considering the fact that this is something that glues together the entire mechanic.
Yeah,
because this allows you to actually get somewhere with your payoffs. It's generic mark payoff. It allows you to actually keep up in the game while you're trying to mark off specific cards in the hand. It plays well with Surmise. It's a good, it's a good 1-drop that you just want to drop, and it allows you to actually get somewhere with your level, get somewhere as an XP with your XP ramp to level up faster with this specific strategy. And I think this would be an interesting deck to see. I don't understand why people don't vote on something in like that, because it's genuinely interesting design space. Maybe, just maybe, and that's my guess, it has to do with the fact that people very strongly react to Goken cards posted on the subreddit?
Honestly, I think it may be that.
definitely think there's some bias. I'm gonna call out the whole community right now. There's definitely some Goken bias, and it's not entirely deserved. Although I think we've all done something to deserve anti-us. Like I am not a creator without controversy, right?
I built my reputation as a designer on doing bullshit power cards with the occasional dud.
Yeah.
I just think. How I think it's another matter.
So yeah, this shouldn't be at 1, guys. But Mark can be a deck if you let Mark be a deck. If you don't vote marked cards up, there's not going to be a Mark deck. Like, it's that easy. But we could use some more maybe multi-mark engines. So if you guys are looking to design a card, there's a place, there's an alley. Sugar Shaping is a 1-drop strength event from Zucros with deal 1 damage to an ally unit to deal 1 damage to an enemy unit and slay, create a random candy. This is cute because it reminds me of there was actually maybe it was a cycle, but it was like crystallize, and I think there was another card that was
No, only targeted at 1 unit.
But yeah, like hit small things and then could get a benefit if it killed them. So this plays nice into Rage. I know that Imza Corella has been working on how to flesh out Zucros archetypes and make Zucros into a fully fleshed out place. And this is just a step on that. Bonk, what do you think of this?
So can I just say that this sugar is people's blood? I want to make that clear, first of all. Those candies are made of blood. Other than that, I like the design.
Yeah.
I would like to be very update to be finally put in, but
yeah. There's still that weirdness with the tokens. I don't know what's up with that. Grief, what do you think of this?
Love the card. Would actually enjoy it more if it would be mined, funny enough. I understand why it isn't. Why would I wish it would be mined? Because it's such a good support for Rictic. But Rictic is already probably the best mined hero currently around.
I mean, there are also cards in mind that want you to discard.
Sorry?
Candies. There are also some cards in mind that want you to discard some candies.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So there's So the idea with this in mind that you're probably thinking of, Grief, is with the recent where people printed the Ash hero reward as a unit, right? Slam that thing down. And then
not just that, because Candy Rictic is actually a very cute deck, and it very well plays together, being more unit, basically value unit action equipment-ish hybrid deck, which plays well with his passive, because all the candies and most of the candy generators basically help his passive for playing more actions. All candies are actions. Most of the candy units just give you free actions for them to buff other cards up or synergize with actions that also generate candies, and so on and so forth. Maybe this could be a very cool splash deck, red and so basically red and blue, but it remains to be seen. I really wish this card gets in because it has so many interesting avenues.
So yeah. I probably shouldn't be saying this out loud in front of a council member. Guys, if this card gets in, we just update it to have Chroma mined. So it's just update it to add a line and then bump it up to a rare.
I never really had anything against Chroma.
Well, no. I'm just saying that we're side skirting text crunch and the rare limit by waiting until this gets in and then just updating it with this as mined if you are.
I mean,
text crunch. It's sitting at 8.
For that Jasmine first, there will be some standard what breaks the text crunch.
Yeah.
But we don't have any standards around here.
Okay. Make Entrance is a 7-drop mind action from Black Rift With Scout a 5-cost unit, force play it, and deal 2 damage to all other units. I had the privilege to help a teensy tiny bit with this card, and I made it just leaps and bounds better by adding Black Rift as a realm, and I also wrote the flavor text. No, let's talk about this because this is a fun design. So we have Black Rift for small things, and now we have this thing that like you can do it like a nice big superhero jump or superhero landing, 5-cost unit, 2 damage to everything on the board. It's a combination of a board wipe and a way to get a nice unit on the board. Works in any mind deck that wants to make a splash, you know. I think this is cute. Grief, what do you think of this?
Neat card. The thing is, like, the application of it, it's weird. You have to basically be aware of the very specific card pool, the 5 cost range for units, and we're looking at base cost here. Oh, sorry, no. Does it take cost? Does it take base cost? Probably.
It creates, so it will use base cost.
Yes.
Okay. So the 5 cost range for the entire card pool, depending on the format. In standard, we had only standard 5 cost card pool, and for Legacy, the entire one. The thing is, though, some of them are very strong and tied together with the ward vibe. This will just kind of fuck over most aggro decks.
I mean, it's 7 mana.
Sorry, what?
It is 7 mana.
Yeah, it's late enough on the curve where that doesn't matter as much.
The thing is, like, in a when you're going for a more hard controller deck, this is like you're not playing units, you're just playing 1-for-1 trades, board wipes, whatever, and more draw engines, and the few more or very few units that control the board, and then you just drop this to get your advantage out. You can maybe cost reduce this. You can probably play this in KM and buff the unit with either duelist and +1/+1 or make it draw a card, whatever. This seems to be a very cute design. The only thing that I have against it is like it's kind of costly for the effect, but it's understandable because it's tied to a board wipe-esque effect. On the other hand, doesn't this shouldn't this be called make an entrance?
Puapka named it.
That explains it.
Puapka designed the entire card. I had very little to do with this.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's just make entrance. Bonk, what do you think
You
of this?
will make 2.
You like this card, Bonk?
I don't dislike it.
Okay, I'm gonna move on because I'm dying over here. Let's talk about one of the just weird submissions of this week. Get ready for this, folks. The Dead Sea Drifter is a 4-drop spirit 3/2 undead from nowhere in particular with rebound, and whenever an ally with rebound dies, return it to play. So this gives you super rebounds. That's a thing. Slightly better rebounds. I don't know what else to call this.
It's a better liquid around.
Yeah. Bonk, what do you think of this?
I honestly like the card. Gets me thinking in a positive way. The only complaint I have is the drives. It should either be just a Spectre or an Undead Ooze.
I think it's clearly okay. If we're gonna talk about like from a flavor perspective for a second here, it's got a body, right? So maybe Undead Spectre if anything, but I think just Undead is fine. It's weird seeing a card with just one tribe nowadays. I mean, it's been a while ever since
the Spectre, because we have plenty of Spectres that are just skulls with glowing beads, or undead because that may well be a slime.
Yeah, it could work really good with Spectre, so maybe Spectre would
I mean,
be
it
nice.
works well with both lines anyway.
Yeah. Grief, what do you think of this?
The thing is, like, the units still lose rebound, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah. So this basically says that they move from field to graveyard to hand to play.
Mm-hmm.
How many cards care about zone changes?
About it be the either one.
I don't think we have a lot that care about pure zone changes. I know there's the old one. It would be nice to see some more
I mean,
stuff
we
for that.
have a stat that cares about living the graveyard.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we do have a lot of stuff that cares about specifically leaving the graveyard, and so it entering play would be nice, but we don't have too much that cares about the rest of the transitions.
Well, I mean, it's a cute card. I don't really see too much of a use right now for it because I'm not really too familiar with the current standard pool. I have to be honest with that. Else, well, I mean, does this count itself? Like, does it bring itself back to the field?
It will
believe
not
so.
be in play.
Well,
Okay.
no, but the way our entombs work is they check what it should still work.
It's not an entomb, so the
It doesn't sit well, but cards that care about cards leaving play care about effects of things that existed while they were in play, which is how our a lot of our dice triggers works. That's why there was the vampire modifier had to be updated to not include itself specifically. The little 2-drop vampire thingy. So it should count itself. The way our rules engine works. I think it's cool. But yeah, I don't know what the deck with it looks like because we don't have the Rebound Tribal in here. Well, we had one other card that actually referenced Rebound Tribal. Maybe we can see some of that in Spirit. That could be a really neat.
I mean, the Skull Revive Shifter.
Yeah.
The Skull Revive Shifter, when you think about it.
Mm-hmm. This could be a nice little build. I don't know. Kahran the Blood Elder is a 6-drop spirit 4/2 hearing cultist lord from Xandar with Regenerate. Ally units with 7+8 or more HP have Overrun and Frenzy equal to their HP. Summon, and when this attacks, this deals 1 HP from all enemies. And active, swap this unit's HP with another ally's HP in player hand. And ready this before combat. So, Vigilant. That should just say Vigilant.
No.
Is that different? What
No,
is
because
Vigilant?
it cannot attack the turn it enters play.
Oh. I thought that text on Vigilant is just ready it before combat, though.
Yes, but Vigilant that is by default. With this, you need the active.
Oh, okay, that's attached to the active. I couldn't tell because of the way that was part. Okay. So when you activate that active, that's part of that active. I was confused. Grief, what do you think of this?
We talked about it in voice chat for a while. The design is very cool. The thing is, like, now it is at a spot where it's actually reusable. Before it was actually taking into account what? 10+ HP?
Yep.
Yeah. Because as is, this can basically be just dropped into a board with some units that already are like at 5, at 4 HP, whatever. So you can drop this, kill basically every small unit, steal their stats, and make this just a big dingus with Regenerate. Next turn, before combat, you just swap this on one of your order cards that either care about the damage trigger or whatever, and have pseudo unblockable. That when they actually do your damage and have a damage trigger, can even get double duty out of it, as long as your opponent is well inept enough to throw a body in front of that. The only thing to really deal with it is like hard removal or damage-based removal and hope that it kills it during the swap, because that's the only way where this is actually vulnerable. Outside of that, this is just a strong top end for any kind of HP matters dart deck.
Yeah.
Mid-range or even control decks, this is very strong.
Mm-hmm. Bonk, what do you think of it?
A pretty strong late drop, that's for sure.
Anything else?
No.
Okay.
Green pretty much said it everything.
Yeah. Lierec, Life's Threads is a 4-drop strength 1/4 Angel Knight Arcanist with flying, vigilant, and whenever another ally dies, this gets +1 attack and you gain 1 HP. Active if this has 4 or more attack, revive an allied unit that costs 3 or less. So Red Reanimator, I like this. You do have to meet this condition, but you can do that pretty cleverly in maybe like a self-sack type build. There's probably some other stuff you can do. This is targeted on like, say, like an Unburial Site type thing, but you know, you can maybe synergize with some equipment or some other stuff in order to get this faster if you need it. If not, you just use this as just a value engine. So, Bonk, what do you think of this?
It's a pretty neat mini Ethera. I will honestly think that it should probably lose some attack when using the active, but hey. Like just 1 or 2 attack when the active is successfully used.
Mm-hmm. Grief, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Bonk in this case, because the moment this actually hits for attack, this can basically just reanimate everything that died, anything that died before, as long as it's just 3 cost or less. So if you have an aggressive unit that is more or less like a pseudo sort of fireball on a stick that has overrun huge attack, very little HP, just reanimate it and attack with a swing with it next turn. Because this has vigilance, so regardless of it, it has very low investment for very huge payoff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's cute. I like this. I think it's a neat design. Okie dokie then. And you know, more angels. We need those. So I'm gonna stop the share. Fun week. I had a lot of fun. Did you guys have a lot of fun?
Yeah, it was okay.
It was not bad.
Guys, we should like go online and find like all these like the gaudiest, like most outlandish sunglasses we could find and just send them all to Grief, right? Just open them up a PO box. We're just gonna send them a bunch.
Or we can send him
wait
to
a
the
second, hold on.
That's a pretty cool chair.
Shit, where are my second pair of sunglasses?
How many sunglasses do you have?
Damn it, I can't find them. Shit, I must have left them at work. Okay,
Damn.
because
Okay.
I also got a pair of sunglasses that have this I have the style where they are just one
That's
Okay.
pretty epic.
This would have been cool. I hope whatever is going on with your eyes gets figured out. Thank you, Grief, for joining me. Thank you, Bonk, for filling in for Empty. Like, comment, and subscribe. Remind me why I keep doing this. DM me, check in on me, ask if I'm doing okay.
And remember to play the game, or I will break your knees.
Keep on playing collective and keep on voting on cards. Bye.
Yeah, folks.
Goodbye.